The curtains at the back of the massive theater shifted ever so slightly as a small figure stepped forward, her shoes almost silent against the polished floor. Under the blinding stage lights of America's Got Talent, a 12-year-old Filipino girl named Luna Santos stood trembling, her fingers clutching a single white feather like it was the last piece of air keeping her alive. The theater was electric, thousands of eyes, thousands of breaths held, the stage glowing gold and crimson. Yet Luna seemed painfully small, like a gentle breeze could blow her away. She swallowed, her tiny chest rising and falling. It was her first time outside the Philippines, her first time separated from the colorful, crowded streets of Manila where jeepneys honked, vendors called out Tejo, and neighbors always greeted each other with warm smiles. Everything here was silent. Grand. Intimidating. Cold. She missed home already, the scent of her mama's jasmine perfume that still haunted her pillow, the soft whisper of Cebuano prayers every morning before school. She missed her mother more than air. Simon leaned forward, brow furrowed with curiosity. This girl looked breakable. Like one wrong word could collapse her world. "Hello," he said softly, voice resonating across the arena. "What's your name?" Luna lifted her gaze, eyes glistening. "Luna. Luna Santos," she whispered, voice barely audible. She cleared her throat and tried again, stronger this time. "From Manila, Philippines." A warm murmur spread through the crowd, they loved her already. Her accent was charming, innocent, unpolished. Pure. Simon's expression softened. "And what's that?" he asked gently, pointing to the feather trembling in her trembling grip. Luna looked down at it, thumb brushing the delicate strands. For a moment she didn't speak. When she finally did, her voice cracked like fragile glass. "It's from my mama." A quiet gasp escaped someone in the front row. She continued, a tear collecting on her lower lashes. "She's in heaven now. Before she left, she told me angels don't need wings to fly." Her breath quivered. "She gave me this feather and said whenever I am scared, hold it, and she will be with me." The crowd fell silent, heavy, emotional silence. Even the judges' playful expressions vanished. This wasn't just an audition. This was grief walking onto a stage, still learning how to breathe. Luna placed the feather gently on the microphone stand, like laying flowers at a grave. Her tiny hands trembled, but she didn't wipe the tear rolling down her cheek, she let it fall, real, raw, unhidden. She closed her eyes for one still moment, whispering, "Mama, please, stay with me." The lights dimmed, leaving a warm glow around her like a soft halo. It looked almost unreal, as if somewhere, somehow, an unseen pair of wings wrapped themselves around her shaking shoulders, steadying her heartbeat. And in that silent stretch of time, the world didn't see a child. They saw courage in the shape of a little girl holding onto a feather, holding onto heaven. A soft hum filled the stage as the music prepared to rise, but before a single note played, Luna pressed her palm gently over her heart and whispered in Cebuano, "Ma, tabanji ko, bison USA ka tingig nalang." "Mom, help me, even if just one voice remains for me." The microphone caught the faintest tremor in her breath. The entire audience leaned forward, breath frozen, as though afraid that even exhaling might shatter her fragile courage. Then, silence. The first note of the piano drifted in like morning light breaking through church windows in Cebu, soft and sacred. Luna inhaled, her shoulders lifting slowly, and when she opened her eyes, they glowed, not from confidence, but from devotion. she sang. Her voice surfaced not like a sound, but like a prayer. Gentle, trembling, yet impossibly pure. It was the kind of voice that felt carried by something unseen, grief made into music, love turned into breath. Every lyric felt like she was speaking to someone who could still hear her beyond clouds and heaven. Her eyes never opened wide, she sang as if she was still in Manila, barefoot on cool tile floors, singing to her mother as she rested, tired but smiling. The audience didn't blink. A woman in the front row pressed her hands to her mouth. A man wiped his eyes without shame. For a moment, the theater didn't feel like a competition stage. It felt like a cathedral, and every heart inside it bowed. Simon stared, not judging, but remembering. His face softened with empathy, like someone who suddenly saw the child not as a performer, but as a daughter longing for her mother. He whispered something that only the judge beside him caught, "This feels heavenly." The judge nodded silently, unable to break the spell. As Luna reached the chorus, her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from too much truth trying to fit inside one note. That crack, raw and unpolished, echoed louder than perfection ever could. The feather beside her shifted slightly, caught in a gentle stage breeze, lifting just enough to sway. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't flashy. It was just a feather floating in a quiet curve, like breath exhaled by someone unseen. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Some believed it was just the fan. Others believed it was something far greater, her mother leaning close, whispering, "Padayan anak, sing. Continue, my child, sing." Luna's voice climbed, reaching a note that felt like sunlight breaking free after storm clouds. It wasn't loud. It wasn't powerful. But it was honest. It reached into people, past their ears, straight into the most human part of them. She finished softly, voice fading like the last candle in a silent chapel. When the final note dissolved, there was no applause. Not yet. No one dared move. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of feeling, full of hearts that had forgotten how to beat for a moment. Luna lowered her gaze, chest rising and falling fast. She didn't look like someone waiting for approval. She looked like a child who had finally spoken to heaven, and was afraid to open her eyes in case the moment disappeared. And somewhere in that stillness, everyone knew, they hadn't just heard a girl sing. They had witnessed her remember her mother. For a heartbeat, nothing existed. Not the lights, not the cameras, not even the thousands of people packed into the theater. Only a trembling girl, head bowed, clutching the last breath of a song she sang for heaven. Luna's lips quivered as she whispered again, so quietly only she could hear it, "Mama, nadungag nimo? Mama, did you hear me?" A tear slipped down her cheek, falling to the stage floor, catching the light like a tiny falling star. The feather rested peacefully, unmoving now, as if the world itself had held its breath alongside her and was only now exhaling. Then the silence cracked, not with noise, but with emotion. A shaky breath. A sob. Then another. And suddenly the entire room erupted, like a dam bursting. People leaped to their feet, applause thundering, tears streaming down countless faces. Some clapped their hands above their heads, some pressed shaking fingers to their lips, but all of them felt the same thing, something bigger than music had just happened. Luna looked up, startled, eyes wide in disbelief. She wasn't used to applause like this. Back home in Manila, her stage was a dusty courtyard and her audience stray cats and kind neighbors. Here, strangers wept for her. Here, the world listened. Simon didn't clap at first. He stood very slowly, hands on the table, eyes locked on her like she was made of something rare and fragile. His voice, when it finally came, wasn't the familiar sharp tone audiences feared. It was soft, deep, and trembling at the edges. "Luna," he breathed, pausing as if searching for the right words, that didn't feel like a performance. He pressed a hand over his chest. That felt like a daughter calling to her mother. Luna's chin trembled. She nodded once, sniffing, trying to remain composed, though her heart felt like it was glowing and breaking at the same time. "You made every single person in this room feel something real," Simon continued. "Your voice is beautiful, but what you carry in your heart," he exhaled slowly. "That is extraordinary." The other judges wiped tears. The crowd remained standing. The feather glimmered faintly under the lights, perfectly still, like it had finally found rest. Simon's hand moved toward the golden buzzer, but not quickly, not theatrically. Tenderly. As if he knew he wasn't just granting a wish, but honoring a promise between a little girl and an angel watching from above. His finger pressed the button. The world erupted. Gold confetti exploded from the ceiling, raining down like blessings. Each piece sparkled like tiny feathers, swirling around Luna. She gasped, covering her mouth, then cried openly, pure, shaking, overwhelmed. She reached one small hand upward, palm open, as if trying to touch someone just out of sight. And in that moment, she wasn't a contestant. She wasn't just a girl on a stage. She was a daughter being seen. A promise being kept. A feather lifted all the way to heaven. And everyone watching smiled through tears, because they knew, somewhere far beyond the lights, a mother was smiling too.